will say.
Ooh, the last time they played on this, it went to Team 12.
Look at that. Look at that. Sorry, I cheated. You know, I went way before the graphic here just because I am eager to be knowing the thoughts here. What do you got in mind? So you're going purely on the fact that because it's Towers of Doom, we're going Team 12.
Well, it's going to come around to the Blaze Dahaka matchup. Obviously, Dahaka, if it gets let through, that seems to be something that works well for Tempo Storm. If they get Blaze in the backup, that also works out well for them. So against the priority on that, maybe since Team 12 is first picked, when they did this before, they first picked Dahaka, denied it. But again, now that we've seen the priority kind of shift, will we see a commitment to the early Blaze on the side of Tempo Storm, since they only have 2 picks before that second ban by taking that pick here? So I think the play around the Dahaka Blaze will probably have a bigger influence on this last game here than probably any other hero outside of the Maiev, Medivh bans that will undoubtedly come through.
I definitely agree with you. I think a lot of it's going to be that side lane. What comes to the priority? Last time we saw Team 12 in the first pick's position, which because Towers of Doom was selected by Tempo Storm, they will be in. We saw that first pick Dahaka. I don't know if it was worth that on Cursed Hollow, it's got to be worth that on Towers of Doom, right? So it's got to be the first pick worthy. But then do you see an adjustment in the bans? I'm going to say probably not. We saw them move over to the Maiev ban. Maiev, Medivh, I don't think there's any way we don't see either one of those committed. If Tempo really felt like it was necessary for them, they could even bait that, let one of those through, try and incentivize it over the other side, and then see if the Dahaka is picked up. Either way, we are getting into the draft for Game 5 again on Towers of Doom. First seed in North America, Tempo Storm, taking on what is currently sitting at 4th seed, was 2nd seed last week, Team 12.
It's a big-time matchup right here. Again, the first ban to me is going to be incredibly interesting, because if Team 12 wants to take out, you know, just the standard, they can play around what we were just talking about. But if they want to try and pick up the Maiev, Medivh, put the burden on Tempo Storm, and they do that. So Garrosh is going to be banned out here from Tempo Storm. So Tempo Storm has to decide, is this a Medivh pick potentially given over the Maiev?
We saw this in Game 1 from Team 12. No, it was the other way around. Tempo was the one banning out the Garrosh. Well, then never mind. I was going to say, well, you know, what do we expect from that? But yeah, Tempo had a draft plan going into it. Look at this, the call out. Are you willing to first pick the Dahaka? Oh, baby. This is getting spicy if that Blaze gets locked in.
So if you're Team 12, you have to decide. So the way it works, because it's Maiev, Medivh are going to be let through, and one of those seems like the likely pickup, most likely the Medivh. Dansky is the Medivh player, Cure is the Maiev player. So it kind of depends on who do you want to give what, who's going to take what, the Blaze being hovered.
I will say, flat out, Dansky on Medivh is the don't give out of those two. Blaze is the choice for Tempo Storm. It's got to be Dansky's Medivh, right? The fact that we're 5 seconds in already makes me scared.
They're like, wait a minute, we didn't expect to get Medivh here.
Yeah,
That it is a very interesting point. There's almost no way. I think maybe they're using this time to reevaluate the longer plan of this.
What now that Blaze is taken off the table, what does that mean for the long-term plan? Where does the Dahaka come in? Where's the side lane priority come in for us? What do we need to be worried about? What do we need to pick up with this Medivh?
This is so interesting.
Love when we see draft adjustments like this, especially on Game 5. I'm torn on if I like it on Game 5. I feel like it's like when everything's on the line, I want things to be the closest to normal, because then it'd be like, who is truly the best? But at the same time, this is a great climactic moment.
What if Medivh doesn't get picked here?
Don't say that. There's no, oh my, first pick Dahaka again. What is happening? We just got Dahaka first picks over a Medivh.
Woo. Okay. Now Tempo Storm's like, hold on, now we gotta wait for our timer. Is there any chance? So Psalm is Maiev and Medivh. So it's unlikely. I mean, Fan obviously can play these heroes, but if you're committing one of your backliners to one of those heroes, we assume at some point it's gotta be a Medivh. Then that means it's unlikely that you're gonna take both of them here. So Team 12, they get the leftovers. Oh. What? What?
Both.
So now that makes me wonder. So Psalm has been the Maiev player.
I think that has to be Psalm on Medivh. There is, I don't think anybody else is moving over.
But who's going to be on Maiev?
It'll be Fan. They'll just Fan has
ranged,
done everything. He's played every damage dealer that has existed in Mankind. He is hands down your flex.
But ranged damage dealer now is Medivh.
Yes. I think that is way easier than taking the specialist known as Medivh and saying, hey, can we get 2 people to learn this?
This is wild.
It is wild. No matter what the outcome, it is wild what is happening here in this draft. The must bans of the entirety of Part 2 exist on the side of Tempo Storm in Game 5 up against Team 12 here. And I'll be honest, though I do look at that and go, ouch, I'm not sold that this is game over by any means. I think Team 12, a lot's going to hinge on these 2 picks. The Junkrat higher value, because the Medivh picked up, does not have any counter momentum into most of the tools that I will want to see whenever I see a Maiev picked up on the other side of the table. Just a reasonable amount of macro control. I'll be honest, not the rotation I was hoping for from Team 12.
We see the Tychus hover. Is there any chance Team 12 doesn't ban Diablo? Because Diablo with a Medivh Maiev getting onto you?
I mean, is there any chance? Yes. Do I think it's a big one? No. Not very much, no.
Tychus again being the hover, and then you kind of wonder where does ETC kind of come into play for these drafts if that does become a thing. Johanna now, ETC, you have the roots and you have the concussion mine to deal with the Medivh portals, but if the Medivh portals come quick, concussion mine goes out, all of a sudden you're like, all right, maybe we're in trouble. This series has just gotten so spicy.
Do you go even harder on Glaurung? If you're
ban the mouth L?
Ban the mouth L. Ban, like, I know we've only gotten 1 game, but is it worth that commitment at this point? Probably not. Probably not the mouth L. They go with the Stukov instead. Commit the support choke. Man, this is interesting. That offlaner can't be a squishy. That offlaner has to either be Zeratul or a warrior. And in all cases,
mouth L. You could always.
I don't think so. I don't think they can get away with that with this type of composition, to be honest with you. I don't think it has kind of leniency to be able to get. I think it's too squishy. It's weak enough that I think almost any composition can sustain through it. To the point where I go, wait a minute, what if we're worried about the wrong thing? Giving up the double OPs means that Glaurung is going to be on a limited hero. The Diablo made it through. It's going to be picked up.
Chin.
Okay, so like, I was gonna say, I feel like you've been drinking a little bit of Chen's brew, a little bit much, and the fact that you're kind of breaking that one out, I think we'd get ourselves. Oh, we aren't even gonna see what that offlaner is. It's gonna be held towards the last pick.
The suspense of the Chen pick. The one thing is that Tempo Storm, going back to a little bit of their roots from earlier this year, is that they're just trying to break the mold of what's norm. And whenever they've done it before, it was extremely successful. They're going to try and replicate it here. Team 12, see Diablo on the other side. ETC does well around portal control. Johanna does well in terms of making sure she's safe against the Diablo Maiev style composition with that iron skin, but is enough engagement with the Dahaka, Junkrat, and a Johanna. You're going to need a lot more damage on that backside. Burst damage does not traditionally do well against Medivh. So where does it come in? Greymane's still there if you just want to rip a cursed bullet.
Man, this draft, my mind's just going all over. A bunch of synergies, a bunch of ideas, but when it comes down to it, I have no idea exactly where they're going to lean. Tracer.
Into a
ETC.
Medivh.
I was thinking about hinting at the Tracer, but I didn't think into the Medivh Maiev is a double good luck trying to get that pulse bomb off.
And you're not getting it off on Maiev, so that's unless, obviously we're looking at, what is it, 12 seconds now on Vault? Medivh has 8 seconds on his
Force of Will.
Force of Will, so cooldowns definitely more in favor of Tracer, but this is also a new Tracer.
She scales harder, but she's weaker in the early game.
Yeah.
She packs a punch with those AAs. There it is. Oh my goodness, dude.
So we get a VP into an APOC this go around. And all the while, you can always get a Warden's Cage in the middle of all this.
Jail.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of feels flowing through me right now, man.
Are they good, bad?
They're all over the place. It's just we're I don't just slapping my mic. We're a grumbling, bumbling something of the like. There is so much just your deleted wombo combo that Tempo Storm has. A Void, APOC, Warden's Cage, Polybomb, Leyline, I don't care what you take. It is going to be pretty looking. It is going to hurt, and it's going to execute very, very fast. But I don't want to count Team 12 out. I feel like they have a very chaotic composition that has a lot of pros and cons that I don't necessarily know if Tempo Storm is going to be able to survive. My only qualm is the Medivh Maev and a Tracer. And it's can the Tracer have that big of an impact? Because originally I was really skeptical of Tracer. I was like, nerfs coming in, changes coming in. She's not going to be able to hold her own, but she very much, you know, in solo queue, she's pleasantly surprised me pretty consistently here.
Well, it's more of a sustained style this go around. You kind of have to auto attack a little bit more. Health went up, you know, the scaling obviously on the pulse bomb, things like that, a little bit different. I actually saw a change up on the build earlier. I don't know if we'll see that. Obviously level 7 brings in something, normally Jumper, but Jumper has been changed a little bit. We'll get maybe a little bit of bullet time action. Either way, we've got Team 12 here on the left, as that is going to be Dansky on the Junkrat, Cure on Tracer. Of course, we've got Justin on the ETC. Daka being played by Goku, and Buds rounding it out on Malfurion.
And in red here is Tempo Storm, where Glarung is going to be on the Zeratul. Caterpillar on the front line playing Diablo. We got Psalm here over on the Maev. Fan will be your Medivh, and June will be the Rhaegar. So I was wrong. In fact, Fan is the Medivh. I will say that, you know, I expected to see the transition there for Psalm over to that, just because, again, the uniqueness and the playstyle there of Medivh feels like it's one of those cases. But in the long run, it makes sense for Tempo Storm to commit to this. You know, having Fan on it, draft-wise gets a lot less awkward in the future if Fan is able to bring that out here at the stage.
So one thing that's going to be particularly interesting for me is you instantly look at Medivh Diablo, you think Leyline Seal into APOC, but because VP is going to be there as well as Warden's Cage, you know, when you look on the other side of the battleground, you've got ETC. Polybomb's going to be your only real interrupt on that, unless you just completely stall it out with a VP and try and isolate a few people to keep from doing damage. So Polybomb feel like it's going to be the pickup in this instance.
Man, this whole game, how laning team fight wise, like everything about it is going to be interesting. Psalm Vault gets the follow up onto the Shadow, just mainly because there was so much different done in the draft. Like, to be honest with you, I wish I could tell you what Medivh and Maev look like on the same team, but the answer is they're never available. So I don't really know. Like, I mean, obviously you can think about the obvious synergies and some of the cool plays that can happen with, like, oh, look at, you know, the opportunity to move in, get the tether, go through the portal again.
Well, the other thing is where's your early game kill potential? Like, a little bit of damage is going to be there. But in terms of your early game kill potential, Medivh Maev don't exactly scream like burst single target damage. Even
in the late game, Jay-How, that doesn't really change that much. And that's why I was saying, like, this is a really curious shot, because there is so much one punch, one shot, one kill on the side of Tempo. But if it fails pretty heavily, and it looks pretty lopsided. It's going to be interesting. I still don't know how to unfolds, because I think about a Tracer. She can be mobile enough to survive on her own. The Junkrat, that's going to be a problem that they have to concern with. ETC's mobility, typically he's going to be counter-initiated on, so likely he's going to be a problem they have to deal with around this Wombo combo as well.
We're even seeing a change up in build. We've seen a lot of the Q build lately for Zeratul since some of the changes to the auto attack build. Instead, we're seeing building into the Blink, getting that Blink quest going, but we're also seeing at level 4, Darkness Descends, getting that extra auto attack speed for 5 seconds. Passively, you get 20% more auto attack speed, so more into the skirmishing roll. I thought it might be that Rending Cleave, that extra bonus damage on that, but instead, that wave clear is going to be pretty hard for Zeratul to deal with.
It's going to be pretty much non-existent for a lot of it. Well, I mean, Zeratul by default does okay on wave clear, but it's not as good.
He does better with those 1 and 4 talents.
Yeah, he does a lot better.
Not so much. Yeah.
8 seconds out from the first ult phase. Ooh, Justing not going to commit there. Cattle does end up collapsing here towards the middle section there, realizing Saul may be out for a moment. Top right and top left channels picked up by the respective top laners. Bud's in a bad spot. Nice power slide into a 2-man root, forces the vault. Now Caterpillar in a bad position, but he takes a nice portal away. But he's going to be met with Goku, takes the other side of the portal, and actually that's a first blood here over to Team 12. I didn't realize there was somebody waiting on the exit there. Goku making the plays.
That's a reset.
Look at this. Team 12 comes out swinging 2 kills and shot advantage over the first altar phase here, J-How.
This is a major, major statement coming out. Again, this composition is all in. The main strength, though, is going to be the post-10 setup. Warden's Cage, APOC, potentially VP, but at this point, I think we might actually see Might of the Nerazim. How big are these plays? Will we get the polybomb? You can see Psalm on the other side. See if he uses that over, tries to get the tether. 2-man tether on there. Justin going to get flipped over. Face melt, knock his way out.
If we do see Might of the Nerazim, then it's going to be all-in kill potential on the Tracer and onto the Junkrat. But mainly, I would say more so probably onto the Junkrat, getting the threat onto him and making sure he can't get value, especially out of 13s. If you can capitalize on that, what Zeratul is very good at, might be something we see Galaron kind of focus on.
You know, major credit to our map team here and the balance changes that we've seen towards this bottom lane. Just that 30 seconds is taking away so much control, the oppression that we normally see in the bottom lane. You see very good bait over on those sappers on the side of Tempo Storm. But this bot lane control, much more difficult to obtain, much more difficult to hold on to. So we're seeing a lot of changes here, but with Tempo Storm on the other side, going that full melee style almost without the Medivh there, it's very hard to defend against those style invades here in the early game.
I thought this was bugged for a moment, but apparently I didn't put 2 and 2 together early on. Is that we see Fan only sitting at 1 stack here on the Master's Touch opportunity after that he had gone down over that last skirmish. I didn't realize, you know, not only was he the one going down, but he's been that kind of passive over stacking those after seeing that death early on. Something that Tempo Storm's going to be wanting to change for themselves as things looking. Oh,
Dahaka
yes, he needs to be out of here. I don't think he's going to make it in time, Goku.
And Medivh's coming.
I
mean, once you get tethered, I don't think there's any more interrupts, so it's almost...
It's how long can you buy?
And now he can brush stalker out. I mean, once the tether is down, you're out. There is no other interrupts for that, and now that is more control over this bottom lane. That was a heavy commitment with very little probability to confirm that.
Yeah, again, the lack of crowd control coming out here. I will say that I feel like there are other ways to be able to deal with that a little bit better on the side of Tempo Storm. Like... you know what Goku can't walk through is body blocks. You know, it's that's not true, actually. He's one of the only heroes in the game that can. But when his W is down afterwards, maybe look for the body blocks to try and kite around. Other ways to try and, you know, kind of quote-unquote create CC. But yeah, this is another moment where Team 12 is able to gain so much at multiple fronts of the map here for Game 5 against Tempo Storm. And again, after losing both of their series last week, 2 upsets here, Team 12 has come back revitalized, renewed, and may be able to take out the top of NA.
Well, we see if they can get it done behind a dance party, because we got a mosh pit coming in here. Again, polybomb now seems like an inevitability that has to be picked up, because interrupts are not there. You have a cleanse from Rhaegar, but he's going to be in that melee range. Also, the change up to Tracer's build. If you're a Tracer player before, obviously Jumper brings a different dynamic.
Look at that. No Warden's Cage.
Wow. Okay, so that's another interrupt.
Containment disc.
But either way, bullet time at level 7 gives you that cooldown reduction. It was 0.10, now it's 0.15 for every auto attack you have, reducing the cooldown reduction on your blink. It's kind of the new go-to, the new meta, so if you're still wondering how the new Tracer plays out, this is what the pros are doing. Might of the Nerazim, it was. Polybomb picked up. APOC still there. No Void Prison setup. No Leyline setup. No Warden's Cage setup, Dreadnought.
Everything very different here for Tempo Storm. Let's see how it works. First or second shrine phase, or altar phase. Man, nailing it here. Gonna go even. 1 for 1.
1 for 1, but with this bottom lane control, that's 5 shots. And they have their attention maybe set up here. You know, you can use the polybomb this go round to make sure you can interrupt that brush stalker, so you have a little bit more opportunities to get that crowd control. And they're putting a lot of focus in. Goku's like, yeah, I'm down to party. Let's go.
It'll buy a lot of time there. You know, Goku on this offlane all of today has been, you know, draft-wise high impact, play-wise, especially on his Dahaka.
Last week, Dread.
Yeah, it was rough. But this week, it's looking good. I would especially say on Tomb of the Spider Queen, if you watch his plays on the Dahaka specifically, even, you know, controlling the mini wave here on the top half, not letting it take any damage.
What we just saw from there was a wubby thing. He didn't quite execute it, but if you actually ranged minions, you could reset their auto attack animation. He was trying to do that, so you just kind of slow move.
Yeah.
Wubby plays with incredibly low sensitivity, as in he has to move his mouse a lot in order to get it. And so he'll just kind of click and hold, and you can drag those along. You can see Wubby playing around, or excuse me, Goku playing around with it a little bit there. A little small trick for solo laners.
Anytime you can manipulate those minions. Nice not containment disc. I was going to say, nice mine there from Junkrat. Able to get the knockback there, but it wasn't enough to let those sappers kind of get escorted in.
So I'm still looking for an opportunity to set up the big play as Team 12 holding on to the spot lane. Double altar phase coming up here. 13 has now been picked up by Team 12. Goku in that top lane still holding his own, making sure to double soak as much as possible. And they're looking for the gank on Dahaka because they know he's coming down.
Might be a little too greedy in this rotation.
Well, they're just looking for structure damage, my bad.
Yeah, they're looking for that 13 talents here instead. But I will be honest, I feel like with the Diablo, especially seeing that rotation, the rest of the members of Tempo Storm, I thought they were going to get aggressive even being down the talent tier here.
The Tracer already channeling the bottom. You can see Dansky trying to interrupt. He's successfully done so. 13 still not here for Tempo Storm. 18 shots left on the core for Tempo Storm.
Still
Justin
13.
Still has that mosh pit available. Let's see if he can find an opportunity for it.
Portal's going to be laid. Bud starts the channel. Glarong is going to get zoned out by Goku. Fan gets the interrupt. Still miles away here from Master's Touch being completed. Goku waits on the side. Glarong's going to start the channel with June. Interrupts from Junkrat. Only going to get the one. Glarong gets interrupted by Justin with that knockback. Now June starts it again. Tether is going to get the pullback. Malfurion Root's going to be laid down. Moshpit comes in, hitting 2.
Oh, the drag, Drogon, the Medivh there, unable to get the interrupt on that containment disc was used. APOC out in return. Goku ends up getting stunned, as does Buds there, and that is 2 members down in favor of Tempo Storm. It's 2-for-1 trade so far.
HGC ended up getting the kill there onto Zeratul off the side, but 2 members down for Team 12. Unlikely to make it any farther here. And that was a great mosh pit there from Justin. Portal being used. Cattle actually getting baited over from that power slide. The drag back, not enough force of wills to keep him alive. And that is now 100 souls lost.
Goku making plays. The fact that he was able to get that Medivh, I got a little crazy because he got the Medivh, pulled him back into the mosh pit to make sure and take away one of the interrupts. Has the follow-up there. The other thing I like, the adaptation of his build here, level 13, going into the armor reduction on his Dark Swarm, because what we saw from that mosh pit Dreadnought, they don't quite have the same style of damage, same style of burst, but when you get that armor reduction when he's using that Dark Swarm, definitely can help Junkrat try and finish some of these kills.
Tempo Storm, even though that bottom skirmish was, moments of success, the core HP is very, very far against them. And with that, so much pressure on the bottom half, hold up here. Team 12 going to get initiated on.
Well, just bomb goes out. Forward there.
Glarong's on an island, though. He has no way to teleport out, and he's going to get killed by Tracer. Riptire from Dansky over the wall. Tempo Storm is now going to lose themselves. Oh, wow. So I'm actually making them play in for a moment there. I forgot. He's got a nice shadow. I didn't see him throw it at first. I was like, oh.
I was like, I think he's in a bad spot.
I was like, you don't have Warden's Cage this game.
Justin going in. Cattle so low in terms of health. There's Psalm continuing to tether people around. Triple altar phase here. See what happens as we are on our 5th altar phase. Final triple altar phase of the game. 1 sapper made it through.
That means that we are 1 shot away from this being a lethal altar phase for Team 12.
This is big time. I mean, 16's close here for Team 12 as well. If they can get a little bit of extra soak in.
Tempo has to force over the first shrine, so much so that they're actually going to invade. I think, are they going to? Are they going to play it a bit more passive?
Tracer. I mean, we've already seen what happened to Fan when he was on Tracer back at the Western Clash. I think Cure probably knows a little bit.
Wow, Tempo's actually going to start the double channel, and Team 12's not in position to get the interrupt, at least
Justin
not fast enough.
Justin got it. Goku's now made his way up. The Brushstalkers there. They're going to be zoned out.
But 16 is nowhere to be found. Tempo's going to force this fight.
There's the APOC. There's the power slide in. Once again, Cattle taking the damage, but Psalm, there's a containment disc on the backside. It's going to buy a little bit of time. This looks like a disengage, though, from Tempo Storm now.
Yeah, that's absolutely going to be a full disengage now from them. And that means Team 12 picks up 5 more shots. 6 shots remain on the core of Tempo Storm. 16 talent tier still out of range, but very close for Team 12. They start this boss, but this is greedy. They think Tempo Storm's on bottom.
Yeah, this is super greedy. They ended up getting it
Cattle,
out of there.
Justin.
The Polymorph's going to be there. The Polybomb's going to be there. He gets the slide out, but it's not enough to save his life. That is a big misstep there by Team 12.
Team 12 getting a bit too greedy. Great punishment, though, from Fan, able to interrupt that mosh pit, which would have been for sure a 3-man mosh pit. Most likely a Malfurion to kind of join in, keep Justin alive. Tempo Storm, they hold on here in game number 5 by that kind of window of opportunity for 15 more seconds after they get this boss, send the core to 23%. They did not convert this bottom bell tower. They will be unlikely able to do so. Might be able to claim top for themselves. But this is still... Team 12 is still in a majority of control of this game.
They're going to get bottom sappers as well, which continues to hold control over that bottom lane, which tends to win out in a lot of these fights. The next altar phase, as we can see, is going to be that neutral mid-bottom one. So again, that bot lane control is a major problem.
And that only gets amplified by the fact that we see, you know, a global advantage sitting in the hands of Team 12, right? Normally you'd be like, oh, well, that's okay if you have the global advantage on your half and then you keep pressure on the top half for long periods of time. But that is very much not the case. So maybe doubly so kind of difficult here for Tempo Storm. No invade, at least yet, here from Team 12 as we are 20 seconds out from one altar up on mid. If one of these shots make it in, that could be lethal here for Team 12 if they end up picking up the altar themselves. Psalm gets the tether. Root's going to be thrown down.
Keep on Glaurung at the top left of your screen. He's going to look to try and get in, get that blow-up kill if there's an opportunity. Glaurung goes in, he gets onto Dansky the minute the Riptire goes out, but Zeratul gets instantly turned on and blown up Dreadnought.
Huge plays there from Buds. I thought for a moment that Twilight Dream was for no reason there, but it was to make sure Glaurung was not making it out. He tries to come in for the big play. Buds ends up hitting the huge counter there, and now they are Zeratul-less. Tempo Storm down 25 seconds and now down to 2 HP. On their core. There are no sappers, no boss, no win condition available for now. Team 12 is going to look to convert these bell towers.
This risk on banning out and drafting against Glaurung so far is working out. It's worked out in the previous game. Trying to make it again. There's the big portal. The Roots go down in response. Psalm not willing to pull the trigger just yet. Here we go. The core, the keep starting to fall just a little bit. Team 12 without much more behind it. Unable to confirm. They're going to drop back.
Tempo holds off without their Glaurung, even coming through the town portal. Is able to join up here. Fan kind of sharking above. They find Goku in the mid lane. Not going to pull the trigger. Actually, the man pulling the trigger is, in fact, Goku. Still fighting back there. Anchoring, Cattle in rotation. Not going to kind of choke out Team 12.
And I think for Team 12, all they have to do is stay back. They're 2 shots away. They have the global advantage. The next altar phase is a single altar phase. It's almost one of those things that if you lose that fight as Team 12, all of a sudden you let Tempo Storm back in a big way. If things even get remotely kind of like, oh, maybe we shouldn't do this, remotely questionable, it's one of those things where you might just want to concede it. It's a single one. Play around that global, play around the control that you've had so far in the game, and leave that. Bottom Sapper Camp should be coming up as well. See if Tempo Storm tries to make a point of it.
Yeah, we're 20 seconds out from what very much could be game. This is still mind-boggling to me. The fact that Team 12 may be able to get this upset here over Tempo Storm. Tempo making the collapse. Dahaka still up on top. No 20s for a long while. Not even concerned. This is an even footing fight here for Tempo. Glaurung has been trying to make the plays, but the punishment has always been there. Will he end up getting the kills here this time?
The Burst Stalker's already coming in. You can see on the bottom left of your screen he's going to come in. June starting the channel. Goku starting to make his way forward, trying to be the threat there. You can see the Fane of the portal coming in. Glaurung, however, under assault by Cure. We're going to see if Tempo Storm can kind of counter here.
Gets flipped over, gets the Shadow Charge. He ends up getting the burn in time. APOC out, trying to buy enough. Twilight Dream ends up getting a 3-man there.
Are you kidding me?
They lose the Zeratul and the Mosh Pit. Everybody on the side of Team 12 keeps themselves alive. Force of Will getting a lot of value there, and there goes Tempo Storm finding themselves the first 2 kills. Shadow Charge on the Dansky is going to send him out of this fight. Now Cattle trying to kite back, able to get the Force of Will. Man, Fan on that Medivh, keeping Tempo Storm up 2 for 2.
Cure this whole time has been poking around. Goku almost was the savior there, ends up going down. Justin just barely survives the 2 for 2 trade. June making the big play. I thought there was an opportunity to take down June. In the middle of that, Goku had a different priority target. June ended up getting the bite to even that. This is back and forth we go.
Fan absolutely is the reason that fight was not just lopsided. He had 3 circle of protections, ended up hitting 3 different kill targets and saving them on multiple fronts there. Very well done from Fan, who is still, you know, yet to finish what is our master's touch, but he is getting a bit closer here as the early game not working as well for Tempo Storm as they would have liked.
The altars just showed up as where they're going to be on the minimap. This is a tough spot. Tempo Storm is going to have to just walk in and bully out the fight. They have Diablo, they have Medivh to get in there. Also the boss about 15, 20 seconds away as well. So there's a huge point of contention when we come to this next altar phase. Both teams will also be 20. This is such big time right now. This is got to be tense.
I'm going to hit you with a talent that I feel like we might see in this game. We may not. But if we do, I feel like Tempo Storm has to be concerned with how these team fights have happened, and that's Death Metal.
Yeah.
Death Metal could gain a lot of value in this game, especially around Diablo compositions, because typically it's, here's my focus target, we all clump on top of it, inevitably you're going to hit Diablo. The question is how much more beyond that? I don't know. We are yet to see it picked up, and it may not even be the choice.
Here we go. Here we go. 20 to 19, 20, almost here for Tempo Storm. Double altar phase here in 20 seconds. Game deciding one potentially if Team 12 can channel just one. Tempo Storm has to take this fight decisively. If they take this fight, they could also do a lot more with it. The boss is going to be there. They can get 8 shots, 12 shots potentially
Goku?
To get back. Goku already caught out Dread.
Oh my goodness. Goku on an island here. Can they get the heals in time? They will be able to keep him alive.
Containment disc already used as well.
Yeah, but Cattle ended up using the bolt. And the mosh pit, Twilight Dream end up going through. More for Polybomb. Bud's
He's going to get in the channel. He's already getting in the channel. All he's got to do is
They did it.
That's it. That's game.
They did it. Team 12 has taken out Tempo Storm 3-2.
Wow.
After having the most devastating weekend results I think we have ever seen on the top half of the standings in all of HGC North America. They come back the next week and then take out the team that almost no one here has been able to do so. Only one team, and I believe it was
Freedom.
Freedom was able to do it in part number 1. Here, part number 2, Team 12 showed that they got signs of life in them.
Guess who Tempo Storm plays later this weekend?
Team Freedom.
And if they lose that game, although that is, we still got to see how this weekend plays out. That is major shakeup in our standings throughout. I mean, it is a ripple effect felt from 1 through 5, essentially 1 through 4, with all those teams so close. This weekend got off to a good start.
And it's not done, Jay-Hal. Luckily for you, I don't mean to kind of fast forward, but the next series, Team Freedom and Heroes Hearth Esports, equally as competitive, equally as hype as this one. But the fact that Team 12 is able to hold on, show Tempo Storm. This is the first challenge kind of that I raised at the very beginning here, and I still feel like you got to be asking yourself, is this even that good of a kind of benchmark for Tempo Storm in part number 2? I feel like yes, we did get definitely a revitalized version of Team 12 compared to what we saw out of them last week, right? But it still raises so many more questions when it comes to North America and it comes to like who is actually that good, because now that we've seen Tempo Storm can fall here, I mean, I can't help but feel like Team Freedom is suddenly going, Glorong's hero pool, boys, like, let's go. There's a problem here, and Team 12 managed to find it.
First pick to Haka twice. Take care of Blaze. Give you all the other stuff that you think that you might want. But the thing is, wasn't Blaze banned out by Tempo? Blaze was first banned by Tempo in this draft. So they had a plan, obviously, coming in, and that was because the Garrosh ban. And then they were like, what if we play around the Maiev Medivh? And then first pick to Haka, you can have Maiev Medivh. 2 of the most OP heroes that we have go to the same team. Maybe not so OP together.
Maybe not so OP together. There was a lot of focus in the off lane, and we're going to continue to focus on the off lane as we have Goku on the line with us here for Team 12. Goku, how does it feel, man, after last week and some of the struggles that the roster ended up having as a group and then coming out, taking on Tempo Storm this week?
Obviously it feels good, but there's still a lot of work that needs to be done for us to be even contest, like, even higher than that. Of course, like internationally is what I'm speaking of. But at the moment, it feels good. Yeah.
You're just feeling good, and I like the fact that keeping that humble mentality. They're automatically going, you know what? That's not the best team in the world. We're kind of looking, farther down the line, and with that in mind, kind of down that line, can you maybe give me some kind of insight as to what the thought process was from you guys after the results last week? Like, did you just collab up together and say we're going to put the grind together and really kind of look to show up this weekend, or was it very much a devastating moment and you guys kind of struggled to recover from? What was the thoughts after that?
It was mostly like, what can we do to improve, mostly because a lot of the mistakes were just like everything almost in general, including team fight, macro. Everything was just not up to snuff like what we used to be, so we just had to, I guess, regroup together. That's basically what we did, and we showed up at least.
I feel like last weekend, on a personal level, you kind of had moments of struggle here and there on some of the heroes. It felt like it was, obviously the entirety of the team, but you came out, I mean, especially on Tomb of the Spider Queen, a lot of the Dahaka play, I feel like, from you, and Towers in that last game, you were making tons of plays. Did you just, eat your Wheaties this morning, or was it a good day? What's the reason for that?
I think mostly last week for me was just like, I just performed bad, really. It was just an off day. Well, off week, of course. But I don't know. I just I just kept back doing my schedule that I usually do when it comes to practicing the game, and I'm glad it showed during these games.
It absolutely did, and for not only for you, but for the rest of the squad here. Congratulations once again, and I'm going to send you over to JL.
Goku, I'm going to keep focus on your role in particular, and you pretty much won me over kind of behind the scenes when we got to interview you guys about your priority, your focus on that solo lane role, and it's obviously evolved quite a bit. Going up against this, you obviously had Glaurung on the other side, who you guys seemed to might be focusing in that hero pool. Was that a focus for the team coming into the week? Was that during the middle of the series? And how much of that challenge did you take in that solo lane, knowing that you were trying to focus on that?
I think it was usually just, well, it was during middle of the series where we just started to target him because we knew that Tempo works effectively with the Dahaka or even with the Blaze. And since they first banned Blaze on towers, we assumed they were just gonna pick the Haka. Like I guess they thought we were just gonna pick something else. But instead we're just gonna target him, and in the end it worked. It worked out. Yeah.
Well, there was a moment there, I believe it was on Towers of Doom mid lane, where you were kind of ranging those ranged minions, trying to reset the auto. I know you talked about Wubby last year. He was the first guy I saw do that. Are you still picking up tricks, man? Are these new things that you're trying to fit into your arsenal?
My goal right now is just to be the best in the world for the top lane. There's still a lot of work that needs to be done, of course. Even like when we played in international events, I haven't showed up. And I'm still working on that. I'm still learning, and I'm even learning just from like even players like Korea, their top laners, what they do and what's unique, what makes them, I guess, like play aggro or play safe.
Well, you guys obviously kind of had a unique style in the earlier part of the year. You were changing a lot. Obviously, you guys have made a lot of changes post the clash. Do you feel that now picking up this win against Tempo Storm after last week, do you feel it kind of confirms a lot of the changes that you guys were trying to make to pick up this win so you can continue to evolve this strategy? Was that a big focus, or were you fearing that more change might be coming if you didn't pick up this win?
Well, after our two-game loss last week, we decided to change our strategy, and we only had a week of practice with the new strategy, and we just worked hard and effectively. It took a while for it to mesh in, and it still has a lot of problems within it, but it's growing steadily at least.
Well, it grew pretty well today. Congratulations on the big victory, man.
Thank you.
Goku, one last question before I ask about next week, and I've got to ask, how do we get more humble mentality players like you in North America? Because you just came off of just beating North America, and literally everything you've had to say is, I could have done a lot better, and it just blows my mind every time we talk to you. So I just want to say I have a lot of respect and appreciation towards that mentality, man. You know, what are you thinking about looking towards Simplicity? I feel like now you've got to, obviously, I would feel a lot more confident in going up against Simplicity, even though you are kind of the favorite team. But again, you know, you always kind of seem to surprise with the response. So what are your thoughts there?
I think it's best not to underestimate any team in North America, even if it's like they're not doing so well. But because like even last week against GFE, we didn't expect them to do so well, and then they showed up and they just beat us just straight up. There's no fault, like nothing to back up that. So against Simplicity, we're just gonna give it our all, basically.
Let's give it the all there. Well, thank you very much. And congratulations once again for your wins here today, able to recover from last weekend. The floor is yours. Any shout-outs you want to give?
Yeah. Shout-outs to my team, of course. Shout-outs to our manager, Yipaz, our also sub-manager, Arya, and shout-outs to our analyst, Milk and Cookies.
Well, thank you very much. And shout-outs to everybody, you know, not only everybody on the list there, but also to the Twitch chat. Goku didn't hit the Twitch chat there, so I figured we'd throw it out there. You know, somebody's got to hit it. Okay, yeah. we are saying thanks to Twitch that day. All right, well, I guess we're moving on from that one. Jay-How, we just finished an amazing series, and it really blows my mind that I feel like so much more energy and excitement for the next one than I had for this one. Like this one, good, competitive, a lot of drama, even the results amazing. You know, the amount of competitiveness out of today's play, great. But this is where all the juicy drama of like talking about Team Freedom and struggles, or Team 12, the struggles they had last weekend, all that set up this next series to really stink and matter. Because now after what we just saw from Team 12, they're one series away from being tied with the rest of for the second seed spot, right? One of those two teams is going to be very much there. And we get to determine our second seed for the first time after this next result. It's going to be Heroes Hearth Esports or it's going to be Team Freedom.
There's so much to consider because coming into this weekend, Tempo Storm had 9 losses. Team Freedom has 14. Team Tempo Storm just picked up 3. And if Team Freedom can win again, I think there's an outside shot Freedom if they 3-0-3-0.
And
they'd be the #1 seed.
When I spoke to Team Freedom this weekend, they were very much like, that is in our mentality. That is not like, oh, it'd be cool. It is like, we're looking for that #1 slot still. They are not giving it up. Again, we are going to have Team Freedom and Heroes Hearth when we return, but we are going to go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, more HGC and A action.